Okay, hi.
Hi,
If you would like to introduce yourself.
I am Daphne Manning, and I have been teaching for 22 years now. And I taught Deaf Ed, and now I teach regular ed, and I also taught on the college level for 4 years.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a few questions about your first year teaching and some experiences that you learned along the way.
okay.
Looking back at your first year of teaching, what would you have done differently?
I would have asked a whole lot more questions of veteran teachers, of my co-teacher. I would have probably gotten more in contact with some of the people that had taught me in college, some of my college professors, and picked their brains about things, about how to handle different situations and things like that.
Okay.
But I would have asked for a lot more help and ask a lot of questions.
Okay. Initially. Okay.
Yes.
I might skip this question.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. What resources, things, or people helped you get through that first year?
I did a lot of reading because I was teaching subjects that I wasn't familiar with. But I also leaned a lot on my co-teacher. I leaned a lot on my boss and my bosses. So I had a boss for deaf education, and I picked her brain a lot. But I asked the principals at the school and the teachers around me. I did ask for a lot of help, but I probably would have asked for a whole lot more help looking back now,
Okay. Right.
But I depended a lot on just, using the computer for research, reading. I read the textbook every lesson before I taught. I read. When I planned, I read, getting right before I went in to teach again, whatever specific class I was teaching, I went in and reread that stuff so I would know what I was, know what I was doing.
Right.
Experimented a lot.
Okay. And is that?
It's going.
Okay. How did you balance not overextending yourself with supporting your students as much as you can?
I was kind of lucky because I had very small classes. Like we're talking 4 and 5 kids.
Okay.
So it's a lot different than teaching now. Just really learning to budget your time. That is huge in teaching, and really learning to use your planning time, those PLCs, when you have those collaborative times with your teams, really trying to use those effectively and not trying to recreate the wheel, like taking a worksheet that's already done and maybe tweaking it a little bit, but figuring out how to make that work for your class. I just think planning is so crucial. I mean, it's so incredibly crucial. I'm a master at it now. I've been doing it for so long. I did 3 lessons today that I went back, that I revamp every year, but I went back this year and added more too and changed up a little bit because my demographic of students have changed. So just learning that. I guess the biggest thing is balancing act, of balancing what I need to do and what I need to do for my kids, and then all the other things I have to do. So it's just learning to tweak things and learning to take, okay, this kid really didn't get it. So what am I going to do when I go back next time to help this kid get it, but also to support these kids that already know it. That got it pretty quickly. Right. And so learning that fine balance between supporting your kids and then just going overboard.
Right.
And trying not to do too much. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Over planning, but not overextending yourself. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like that.
So planning, I guess, that's the biggest key. And another thing, I guess, also getting to know your kids. Getting to know your kids.
Okay.
I'm trying to write that down.
Yeah, I think I have a question that is.
Yeah,
like that.
Because that in and of itself is going to help you. Because if you can learn, don't put that part in that. But once you get to know your kids, even within that first few weeks of school, you'll learn your kids and you'll have them set up in these certain ways. But then, don't be afraid to go, this is not working. These kids together aren't working. And then going and finding, and I can give you some tips on that when you get ready to do that.
Okay.
It's how to build your groups.
Right.
How to build your small groups, use small groups, and let your kids teach. Once a kid knows something, don't be afraid to let them say, let me try this, and show that kid or teach that kid. Because sometimes they have a better way of saying it than you did. You could say it in 50 different ways. You could say it the exact same way that they say it, but they're going to come across better because they're on that kid's level.
Right.
So,
Self-guided learning.
yes, you take advantage of that when your kids know and learning how to break up those groups. So, I mean, planning and knowing kids, that's the biggest thing.
Okay. Okay, cool. So what was a challenge you faced maybe getting to know your students personally? Did you find that knowing them on a deeper level benefited your instruction, which you just said?
Oh, yeah, totally. Knowing your kids and being able to know where they are, meeting their needs, not only in school, but you have to get to know about them outside of school as well. So having those little surveys, even if you're teaching elementary, high school, elementary, doesn't matter. The little things that help you get to know your kids, playing class building games, playing games that don't have anything to do with your subject, but just taking that little bit of time to get to know you, them get to know you, but them also to get to know each other, and building that little community, like, world of difference. I mean, I've been teaching a long time, and this year I've really taken the time to just play. Literally take time away from my subject matter and play with my kids. Play games. Talk about what's your favorite dessert and why.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite toy to play with and why? Just getting to know your kids on that level, and even giving them time, even them knowing that this is a safe environment. What we say in here, if it's serious things like if we get to talking about family and somebody says something about their family, it's not your business to go out and talk about it. You know, and teaching your kids that and teaching your kids about a safe environment, that right there alone will set so much of a tone for your kids. Mm-hmm. You'll be amazed.
Yeah, then they'll trust you.
Amazed, yes. Building trust, safe place, a safe environment, you know, and those kind of things. Mm-hmm. For me, I don't need a stranger. So even those kids that are hard to get to know, I wheedle at them until I figure out them, mm-hmm. and then I make that connection in that way. Okay. So, and you're going to face those challenges. I have a kid right now that straight up told me he hates ASL. He likes me. He likes the class. But he likes the people in the class, but he doesn't like the material. Okay. But he's acing my class.
Well.
But it's just, he had to choose what language he wanted to take, so he chose mine, and that was that.
And obviously you somehow related.
I see, yes, somehow I've related with him, so he connects with me, and I'm his favorite teacher. It's so weird. Like, okay, don't like my subject matter, but love me. I'm okay with that, you know. So it is a challenge, but yes, getting to know them deeper does benefit your instruction.
Okay.
Because they trust you, and you're going to be the teacher they come to. And if they don't, here's my opinion, I can teach them subject matter all day long, but if their needs are not being met, and they're not being social, emotional, if their needs aren't being met in that way as well, they're not going to learn anything. Right. But if I can teach them that, and that they take that away from my class and nothing else, then I feel like I may have failed as an ASL teacher, but I have not failed that child because they have life skills that they didn't have before they left home.
Yeah.
But generally, teaching them those social, emotional things and making those connections, they're going to learn more from you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So.
Okay, good. I like that. What is the best way to deal with a problematic student?
You know, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. Getting to know them, playing those games, setting ground rules, being firm, giving choices. Because even though my kids are in high school and my first group was in high school, giving choices still is a huge thing for them, because some of them, you find out sometimes those problematic kids, they're not given any choices in things that they do maybe at home or in the outside world, outside of school. And so to be able to give them some flexibility and give them some choices, or give them the ear to listen to talk to, and let you just listen. Huge. Just listening is like the first step. why, okay, this happened, why?
Right.
Just tell me why. I'm not mad at you. I'm upset, but I'm not mad at you. Like, just tell me what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to learn to question them and get to the root of the problem, 9 times out of 10 will eliminate that problem like that.
Okay.
So, yes, asking questions. Yes, asking us. And when I say that, I mean, sometimes you may just have to sit there and let them talk. And they may talk around in circles. And then you have to learn to say, tell me more about this. I heard you say this. Tell me more about it.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more about this. And asking those open-ended questions where they're not afraid to answer those questions to you. You know, and then there are gonna be times that you're gonna have kids that nothing you do will connect to them.
And they just keep acting
And
up.
they keep acting up. And so then you reach out to other teachers that they have and say, okay, how are they in your class?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if they know that you as a teacher are a core group and you're going to work together to help them succeed, then they may not be perfect in your class, but they're going to act better in your class. Or maybe they're acting up because they feel comfortable in your class.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so just finding ways to eliminate those sort of things. Trying to, being really careful not to call them out in class. Being careful to talk to them, you know, one-on-one, give them a chance to explain their behavior. Sometimes they're just like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, and so, okay, well, is that an acceptable behavior? If you were to go out and do that at a job, would that be acceptable? And so being able to just talk to them a lot.
Okay. Okay.
I'll write notes on that later.
Okay. So this one says, what was the biggest challenge you faced in your first year?
I'll be honest, I was completely unprepared for the classroom. I went to an awesome, amazing university, but I was really unprepared for what really went on in the classroom. And I can already tell you right now, I didn't do anything like this.
I think, yeah, that's why
And
we're
this
doing
makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's my group that's teaching your group now.
Mm-hmm.
You know all about that stuff.
Right.
And so I think not really knowing. I mean, I student taught, but everything at that student taught was literally handed to me. You're teaching this lesson because that's how their curriculum was set up. The teachers were given, here's the lesson you're teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the worksheets, and you can do, here's 10 different activities, pick 3. Well, then I was thrown into a classroom that was like, here, teach, here's the book, figure it out. And so I completely and totally had no idea what I was doing.
Wow.
And that goes back to that planning piece. I had to literally sit down and go, I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? And I had to read. I mean, I had to teach physics. I don't even think I took physics in high school. I went to private school and then I only went to public school for 2 years. So it was kind of like I had to learn something new to teach my kids, you know, to be able to teach my kids. And so there was a lot of trial and error my first year, you know. But again, I took advantage of my co-teacher and being able to talk to him and say, help.
Yeah.
And him be able to put his 3 kids he had aside and say, y'all work on this for right now. We've done this. Y'all work on this. Let me go help Miss Beater. At the time I was Miss Beater. So let me go help Miss Beater, you know. And we signed. So that was another level, was I didn't know some of the signs for those specific things. So I was not only learning the material, but I was learning how to sign it as well.
Right. Okay.
You know, so that was just feeling unprepared.
Yeah, that's what I'm a little concerned about.
You know, and so, like, looking back, hindsight is 20/20. If I had it to do over, I would go back and I would find every Facebook ASL teacher or I would find some kind of teacher share for deaf ed teachers, and I would say, how do you teach this subject?
Mm-hmm.
Please give me ideas. What do you do for this activity? What do you do for this activity? I would start picking people's brains. I would start making those relationships now, before I even got into that classroom,
Mm-hmm.
and say, okay, how do I do this? You know, and they taught English. Both of the teachers that I student taught under taught English. One of them taught English and history. And so I called Emily up and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And she's like, you're not teaching English? I said, I'm teaching physics. And so she was like, okay, just calm down. She said, just read the book and send me a list of the signs you need to know, and I'll make sure you have them. And so she would send me videos of signs so that I could be able to teach my kids.
Oh, cool.
You know, but it was because I built that relationship with her. I was with her for 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
You know, and then I was with the other teacher for 6 weeks. So I student taught for 12 weeks.
Oh, okay.
And so it was kind of nice.
Cool. Yeah.
Scary at the same time.
Yeah. Where did you do that at?
I student taught at Texas School for the Deaf.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
450.
Uh-huh. I would say probably my biggest support was a teacher named Emily Lambeth, Lam